Hello folks, Phil Gallagher of ThrabenU here for another Legacy video. Today we are going to be playing with Domenico P's Burn deck list. Or rather, they gave me the starting point and I did some adjusting. I think Burn is a very difficult deck list to tune for a given metagame. So this is going to be my take on it. And I do just want to shout out the Burn Discord real quick. Specifically one user who wrote a very insightful post that I'm just going to pull up. So it was user Sola Scriptura. So they said, the questions I usually consider when building a list are, how fast is the overall format? How much creature removal is there? How many small creatures are seeing play? How many non-basic lands are being played? How much soft counter magic is there? How am I stopping life gain, or do I need to? And are there combo decks I can beat with my sideboard, or do I need to shore up the 50-50 matchups? And kind of using those as some guiding principles, I've put together this deck list. So let's talk about what's not here first. A lot of the burn deck lists run Searing Blaze in the main deck, but I opted not to run that. I've been seeing a decent amount of combo recently in my leagues, especially like Reanimator in particular. And some of the artifact-based decks are not always going to have early creature plays as well. So I did not want a card in my main deck like Searing Blaze that was frequently going to be dead in game one scenarios, or that might not remove some of the larger creatures. So for example, there's a decent amount of Elvish Reclaimer decks in the metagame as well, and since that can often be a 3-4 pretty quickly, I kind of opted to just kind of remove that effect from the deck. And on a different note, there's a lot of removal in the format right now. So I didn't want to play cards like Grim Lavamancer in some of my flex slots because I want all my cards to do 3 or more damage. Like that's the dream, right? And because the various like Uro decks and X color control decks are playing like both Swords to Plowshares and Prismatic Ending, I only want to play my most efficient creatures. And Grim Lavamancer is a little clunky. It's very good in the creature-based matchups. But again, I'm kind of veering away from that a little bit. And one of the other things that I wanted to do was just kind of make sure I had a real plan for dealing with life gain. Like Death and Taxes is relatively popular, Uro is relatively popular. So I'm going to be running some main deck Sulfuric Vortex, as well as sideboard Roiling Vortex to kind of help deal with that life gain portion. Kind of in my remaining flex slots, I've opted for some Skewer the Critics in an attempt to just put another, big air quotes here, 1 mana, 3 damage burn spell into my deck list. As far as the sideboard goes, I decided to kind of gear for 3 things. I wanted to gear towards having a decent number of cards for Reanimator. I wanted to have a decent amount of stuff for the Kappa Cannoneer decks. So Roiling Vortex, like a lot of times you're playing it for the like your opponent can't gain life effect this turn. But whenever a player casts a spell, if no mana was spent to cast that spell, it deals 5 damage. So if you're playing against this deck full of like Baubles and Mox Opals and you drop a turn 2 Roiling Vortex, holy crap, that's potent. So it's my hope in those matchups between boarding in Roiling Vortex and Smash to Smithereens that I'll have a lot of things covered. And then I wanted a few things that were going to be helpful for just other assorted combo matchups, because that's one thing the donor really wanted. Their original deck list had basically Ley Lines, Mindbreak Traps, and Ashen Riders. But I don't think gearing against Show and Tell is really what I want to be doing right now. Like, that's not the combo deck that I have in mind. So I think between like Pyrostatic Pillar and Roiling Vortex, like those are going to be pretty good damage sources versus combo. There's a lot of different philosophical ways that you can like build your burn sideboard. Some people gear up on with ensnaring bridges to try to keep your opponents from getting through. Some people play a bunch of red elemental blasts to try to counter Uros from even entering play in the first place. There's a lot that you can do to customize this deck list. So I'm kind of playing a stock adjacent deck list with a few things that I've made to kind of customize it to what I'm expecting to see. If you're interested in this sort of like deep strategy dive, I really encourage you to check out the Burn Discord. I'll try to remember to link to that. Just leave me a comment if I forget to do that, and I'll send you a link, and you can kind of see some more of the stuff that's going on here. I suppose I didn't really talk much about what the deck does. Kill opponent. Kill opponent dead with red cards. That's the plan, and let's see it in action. This deck's run a little long, so let's just jump right into it. If you're new here and you enjoy this content, please consider subscribing to the channel, and if you're a regular, throw me a like before this video begins. That's the easiest way to support my content for free. Lightning bolt, go brrrr. Oh my god, what a beautiful fucking hand. Oh yeah. Going to be a most excellent curve out here. So, like, we have 2 damage on turn 1, into 8 damage on turn 2, assuming our Goblin Guide doesn't die. Alright. Ooh, that is nice art. Oh my gosh, this is beautiful. I love this. Okay, so our opponent is probably playing a Dark Depths or lands-based strategy. Okay, Taiga is more likely... Ooh, Pyrite Spellbomb. Ooh. Ooh, huh. Okay. So I'm going to swing in for my 2. I'm going to see what my opponent draws. Okay, well, they're drawing a Mox Diamond. This brings them to 15. What do I do? Playing the Eidolon out into the onboard Spellbomb is a little weird. This Eidolon is still kind of going to be worth 2 points of damage because it's going to cause Goblin Guide to get in for 2 points of damage rather than itself doing 2 points of damage. I'm going to go ahead and force the action on the Goblin Guide. It's possible I get more damage by waiting on this card, but this is going to constrain some of my opponent's lines for their turn, in terms of, like, absolutely forcing the red mana to be used. So I think I like that. Ooh, Urza's Saga. Absolutely. Okay. So I'm going to get more points of damage in with this Goblin Guide, and then the Goblin Guides are going to become less good because of Urza's Saga. So what are we feeding? We fed my opponent a Dark Depths. All right, an Exploration coming in. Ooh, they had the Punishing Fire. Okay. So this is going to put my opponent to 13. I'll go ahead and Chain Lightning them. Now the question is, do I Skewer or Chain Lightning? Skewer is more mana efficient here. But I think I want to Chain Lightning when my opponent can't chain back. Let's go ahead and drop my opponent to 7 here. Alright, so I'm definitely scared. I want to make that clear, because my opponent can produce a Merit Lodge if they so desire. Yeah. Do I need to draw Fire Blast? I think I need to draw a 4 damage spell. Yeah. So this is kind of a turn where my opponent went off on turn 3 and I had a turn 4 kill. Yep. So I'm just a little short here. That's okay. So the burn decks that have been built using like Caracas and Ensnaring Bridge would be in pretty good shape here. Whereas I don't have much to deal with a Merit Lodge. Price of Progress is going to be stupid in this matchup. Unfortunately, I don't know that I'm boarding much. I can play Smash. I think I like some number of Smashes over Sulfuric Vortex. They just go after Moxen as well as Urza's Saga tokens. I don't think I want to go the Life from the Loam route. I have to race Merit Lodge, so I don't know that I can slow down by playing something like Exquisite Firecraft. I could consider trimming creatures on the draw, I think. I don't think I want to trim them on the play. Yeah, I'll keep this. We have 3, 6, 9, 12, 16 theoretical damage. That's pretty good in terms of an opening hand. I don't have recurring. Yeah, that's fantastic. I will happily smash that. Unless my opponent plays Urza Saga this turn, and then things get a little weird, and I'll have a, like, real choice to make. Okay. The real choice has appeared. Alright. Rift Bolt, target you. You're at 17. So, if I don't care about the Urza Saga Construct token, I am just supposed to junk Mox Diamond. I get 1 mana out of this either way, so it doesn't really matter when I cast it. I guess I'll do it in their upkeep. I should reset that stop. Smashing the Mox Diamond also potentially takes them off of colored mana, which can be just an absolutely huge deal. Okay. Drop Rot away the Urza Saga? No. Okay. So I need to deal 4 more points of theoretical damage, assuming everything in my hand works and doesn't get countered or whatever. Price of Progress is fantastic. So I will go ahead and Lava Spike you. Puts my opponent to 11. And now, do I just take this for 4? 4, 8, 9, 10, 11. I think I just take this for 4 now, while this is guaranteed. Alright, opponent's at 7. They are theoretically dead. Stuff can happen. Alright, there is a Mox Diamond. Discarding Maze of Ith. Okay, yep. Good thing to have done that early. Alright, there's Crop Rotation. So they are just going to make their Merit Lodge and say, kill me now. And I will, in fact, kill them now. Alright. You've got your 2020 Tentacle Monster on turn 3 again. But this time I was on the play. So, Lightning Bolt you. Float 2 mana. Target you. Fire Blast you for lethal. Alright. My opponent has made Merit Lodge on turn 3 both times. So, like, that's what I'm up against. On the draw, my creatures become a little worse. On the draw, my Smash the Smithereens also become a little bit worse. And my opponent made Merit Lodge on turn 3, even through me blowing up one of their mana sources. Horrifying. I also know they have Pyrite Spellbomb off Urza's Saga, so that also makes my creatures a little worse. I think I want more smashes. The creatures do so much damage when they're unchecked, but, like, Punishing Fire is a thing. Urza's Saga tokens are a thing. Goblin Guide feeding my opponent lands is also awkward, but, like, Goblin Guide is really good. I'm not sure how to board here. Like, I could just, like, take the Skewers as the odd man out, or I could just say, like, hey, playing 2 Smash Smithereens is, like, really what makes sense here. I'm gonna cut 2 Swift Spears. It's awkward in the times where, like, the smashes get stuck in my hand, but, like, they absolutely... Oh god, yes. This hand is stacked. Price of Progress in particular is representing a huge amount of damage. I mostly don't want my... I probably have to bolt that. I can afford to bolt that, having drawn a second Price of Progress. We're going to fire off Chain Lightning first here. Because, like, my opponent does have red mana in their deck. They can reflect that back at me. Or it's fine. Like, I will Lightning Bolt in response to a port. Absolutely. And we'll play Matching Snow-Covered Mountain, because I'm a savage and didn't match up my arts. And let's get in there for 2. Alright, opponent has a Mox Diamond. Alright. This is a card that I do not want them to have, because now, like, Crop Rotation is potentially a kill here. I have damn near a kill. Oh, god damn it. So, they have made their Merit Lodge on turn 3 for the 3rd game in a row, which means that they go down to just a Grove in play. I needed 1 more turn here, then I would have gotten 6 to 10 or 6 to 8 damage off Price of Progress. The other would have finished, and I Fire Blast. Now I have 2, 6, 7, 8 if my opponent didn't block. That's super unfortunate. Like, my game 1 and game 3 hands were stacked, and they just, like, did not get there versus turn 3 Merit Lodge. I think we did get a little unlucky there. Okay, so kind of big question is, do I keep this hand? I think this has an acceptable amount of burn. So kind of counting up, we have what we... I'm going to hit keep so my opponent can do their mulligan decisions. So we have 3, 6, 9... 13 damage, counting Fire Blast. 14, 15, counting 1 Sulfuric Vortex trigger. My opponent is mulliganing to Oblivion, though, which means I might not have time to fire off all of this stuff. If my opponent's mulliganing this deep, like drawing an Eidolon or a Goblin Guide would probably be my best draws. We also just like might get got by Reanimator in game 1. Which is like why we have like ley lines and such for the post sideboard games. Yes, you may Thoughtseize me. Absolutely. That just turns my 4 damage burn spell into a 2 damage burn spell that was free and didn't cause me to sacrifice lands. That's okay. They just took Lightning Bolt. That's wild. They might have a creature-based combo then? Alright. Chain Lightning you. Alright, there's a swamp. No follow-up. Okay. I will play the Goblin Guide. I don't know if I like playing the Goblin Guide here, because there's a lot of worlds where my opponent is playing a deck with removal, and I just, like, give them a land. Okay, they're playing Collective Brutality, so we're probably playing against Mono Black Reanimator. Alright, so we got our damage in. I'll Chain Lightning you, drop you to 10. Collective Brutality's modes are pretty good here. I don't think I'm supposed to Fire Blast my opponent. Okay, Entomb. Sure. So the current question is the card that is currently in my opponent's hand a reanimation spell? Because I know this is not. It is. Okay, this does gain life. Okay. That's bad. So, is my plan Fire Blast and Lightning Bolt that? Is that my plan? I don't like that plan. I think that's my plan. Alright, I will sacrifice the Goblin Guide. I will discard a Sulfuric Vortex. So this is also a gain 2 life. So my opponent is effectively at 15 life. I'm really hoping to just draw a 3 mana thing that I can point at that so I don't have to do this. I am unhappy about this. Goodbye, Cruel Lands. I don't know how many cards my opponent has to op deck towards in terms of getting that thing back out of the graveyard. I'm guessing it's approximately 7. Alright, Goblin Guide. You get your 2 points of damage in, and then you probably die. Alright, opponent's drawing a Lotus Petal, which is fantastic for me. I think my opponent is supposed to discard that Lotus Petal to Collective Brutality. Or they just have, like, a fucking Grave Titan in hand. Alright. Cool, cool. I don't think I beat that. Are these made tapped? Nope. I'm not getting any more combat damage in. Okay. I'm going to concede. That's unfortunate. Yep. This is what these cards exist for. So do I want anything like Pyrostatic Pillar or Roiling Vortex or anything as well? I don't mind Pillar. Archon is weird. Like, Archon makes me want to have, like, the Roiling Vortexes and Sulfuric Vortex. But don't know how into those I am. So, like, no matter what, I'm cutting 4 Price of Progress since my opponent is playing almost entirely basic swamps. I think my plan needs to be kill my opponent before the fatty gets into play, because it's not just going to be Archon that I have to worry about. It's also things like Grizzlebrand as well. Alright, so is my approach max out on these effects so that my opponent can't, like, gain 7 or even 3? And then slow down my Goldfish? Or is my plan, like, have a Leyline or Fairy in my opening hand most of the time, unless my hand is just absolutely stacked? I'm unsure without reps. I'll probably cut 1 Rift Bolt and like, take this as my starting point. I feel like Sulfuric Vortex is very slow on the draw. I'm going to remove... Well, I'm on the play, though, because I just lost. Alright. Let's run like this. This is fine. I really wish this was a Leyline instead of a Fairy, but this is fine. It's just, like, awkward if my opponent Thoughtseizes me. Excuse me? Okay, so they have, like, Leyline Helm combo as something that they've, sideboarded into, I guess. Good to know. I really need to not lose this card here. Yep. Douthie Voidwalker. Okay. Very much in on the Leyline Helm combo. Sure. I'm gonna play an Eidolon here and just kind of like get that effect into play. This creature can't block. The Dalthy Voidwalker can hit some really weird things. It could be kind of bad for me. But I'm okay with where things stand now. This is a play or cast? Play. Okay. They're unmasking me. I don't think I want to Fire Blast in response. So if I Fire Blast in response, I'm left with basically just a mountain in my hand. So I'm gonna leave them with the choice of like, do you want to take my Fire Blast or do you want to take my Fairy? They wanted to take my Fire Blast. All right, another Dalthy Voidwalker. That's a spooky clock. All right. Super unfortunate that this doesn't remove these. This is gonna be close. Someone is dead on like my next turn, I think. Ow. All right. Again, these things have shadow and can't block. There's another Dalthy Voidwalker. Holy hell. All right. So I have 4 damage showing. My opponent has 6 damage showing. I'm currently winning the race, but it is damn close. Oh, hell yeah. Leyline is keeping Dalthy Voidwalker from putting void counters on my card. I was just double checking that. So my opponent can't actually, like, grab a burn spell with one of those. Okay. So, here's the situation. I am dead on board. I win the game if I draw any spell that can deal 2 points of damage to my opponent. Riftbolt will do. We'll go ahead and crash on in. Opponent's drawing an Unmask. That won't matter. You go to 2. I will cast a Riftbolt. Targeting you. Dropping myself to 5, and they die. Alright, so now I know about my opponent's sideboard plan. I'm not super in a position to adjust to that. And it's also possible that my opponent goes back to playing Reanimator, right? Like, that's the juke with these sorts of decks, is you keep your opponent guessing when you have a transformational sideboard. I think I have to play the ley lines no matter what. Fairy is the worst of those cards. I might just go ahead and junk Fairy to play another Riftbolt, because Riftbolt just goes to the dome. Like, my opponent just lost using their secondary strategy. And so, like, for the game on the play, they might go back to their primary strategy. Again, really hard to tell. I will not be mulliganing to a ley line. I will keep a reasonable hand. All right. Yikes. Okay. So I'm good if my opponent has gone on the Reanimator train. All right, they've got Chancellor back in. So that makes me think they are on Reanimator. And they potentially went for a juke that isn't going to work here. That was the pause of someone going like, "Uh-oh. What's my plan?" They absolutely unmask me. I am going to be reliant on the top of the deck to provide me with damage, because my hand currently has no real damage. Like, I have 8 theoretical damage. Oh, beautiful. If I could hand pick a card to draw, that's basically it. Like, Goblin Guide would have been better, but this is one of my absolute premier cards. Can't really cast it next turn, though, is the problem. I haven't cleared this Chancellor trigger yet. Oh no, my opponent is just going to hard cast a Grave Titan. My opponent just messed up. So, just showing off what's happening. So this is a replacement effect, right? This is not something you can respond to. So my opponent thought they could play Lake of the Dead, immediately sacrifice a swamp, and then sacrifice Lake of the Dead, and that's not how that card works. Okay, cool. So I can use this Lightning Bolt to clear my Chancellor trigger and then play my Eidolon. Yeah, that was a pretty costly mistake. 2 mana for Dalthy Voidwalker. I probably just remove that. I don't want to be racing that. Then I'll go ahead and pay for that trigger. All right. So now I have a persistent damage source in play, and I have the ability to deal 8 with Fire Blast at any given moment. I am happy enough with this. Yes, that's fine. 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I can drop my opponent to 7 this turn. I think I'm going to do that. I miss 2 theoretical points of damage if I need to Fire Blast later, but I don't want to lose my lands yet. Okay, if there's 5, 6. Massacre Worm. Okay. I can cast 1 Fire Blast in response to that and keep my creature. That's fine. Junk 2 mountains. Prowess trigger saves this. Opponent's at 13. I lose Eidolon. I take a little bit of damage as Eidolon dies. I think I'll just chill. I don't know if my opponent can attack with that Massacre Worm or not. Like, I know they have 1 dead card in hand currently. Alright, so this is the combat step. This is a big moment for them. Okay, they are coming in. I will absolutely take 6 damage. That brings me to 10. Alright. Lava Spike you. Prowess trigger goes off. Opponent goes to 10. Cast with Spectacle. Opponent goes to 7. There we go. Crash in for 3. I am just going to let the damage go through. Opponent's at 4. I'll go to their turn in case they actually have something they can do with their mana. I can't think of anything that really punishes me for just firing that off in response to that. So let's just go ahead and try to kill them here. And indeed, it works. Yeah. Okay, we navigated the flip-flop between plans pretty well, so we're 1-1. Feeling good about the deck so far. Okay, so I am on the play with a turn 1 Monastery Swiftspear. So I essentially deal 1 damage on turn 1, 4 damage on turn 2. I'll have another 4 damage, maybe 5 with a Monastery Swiftspear trigger. I don't know that I can keep this 4-lander here. Yeah, 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 yeah. I am going to throw back a Price of Progress here. It's the card that is most likely to not deal a real amount of damage. So like we're starting on Swift Spear, crash in. This is not going to be like a great Swift Spear because I'm likely to follow up with creatures for two turns in a row. But like we'll see. Okay, Tundra, Prismatic Ending. Yep. Okay, sure. Happy that my opponent fetched Tundra. Ooh, I like that as a draw. So cool. That means we're getting at least 2 points of damage in off Eidolon unless something real weird happens. Okay, so opponent does have basics, and that will be a basic. Ponder for me. Ponder! Don't Prismatic Ending me again. Ooh. I mean, my Eidolon still got 2 points of damage in, so, like, honestly, at the end of the day, it is fine. Alright. Once more! And with gusto! Stop it! Stop interacting with me. Let my little red creatures kill you. Nothing bad will happen, you know, other than the obvious. So I really just want to draw a land this turn and play this Sulfuric Vortex before my opponent can get an Uro trigger. I saw them pitch an Icefang Coatl to Force of Will, so like that really lets me know that I need to be concerned with that. Yes! My opponent has also used 2 Prismatic Endings already, so if this resolves, it's pretty likely to stick around for a while. Hell yeah. So, in addition to just doing 2 damage a turn, this prevents the life gain that would happen from an Uro. So I am pretty happy with this. We're just going to be chilling. I have a very respectable amount of damage in hand. So this is 2, 5, 9, 10, 11. But I don't think I'm going to get greedy and just try to... Ooh, Intuition. Am I playing against a blue-white show and tell deck? Is my opponent intuitioning for a counterspell? Or are they intuitioning for a combo piece? If they're intuitioning for a combo spell, I should just fire off all this right now. 3, 4, 5, 9, and 11. Yeah, if they're intuitioning for a counterspell, it's my time to go. Fire Blast you. Alright. Lightning Bolt you. Price of Progress you. Alright, you're at 2. Sulfuric Vortex is in play. If you can navigate through that, you earned it. If I were the opponent here, I would pick the 3 most confusing cards possible and show them to me. Okay. They are just opting to concede. Alright. So, Intuition is confusing. It's like, they could be a control deck, they could be a show and tell deck. I don't know for sure. Like, prior to Intuition, I definitely was leaning towards control, but Preordain is more indicative of combo than control, so yeah. Alright, I don't want ley lines, I don't want fairies, I don't want smashes, so these are the only things that are in the conversation. Price of Progress did a whopping 2 damage that game, and I'm like, my opponent showed me Ice Fang Coatl, so I know they have a lot of bases. I'd like to replace these 4 cards. I'm gonna replace with Pyrostatic Pillar for sure. Roiling Vortex and Exquisite Firecraft are both interesting for different reasons. This is like a high damage density card, and this is very good against like show and tell in Omniscience or Force of Wills or whatever. This is also good against a potential Uro plan. Like, keeping that in mind, I think I'm just going to play Roiling Vortex. On the draw, I think there's also a real consideration to just like board out Goblin Guides and Monastery Swift Spears, or trim them a little bit in order to just like make Prismatic Ending type cards worse. I think I'm going to junk the Swift Spear for Exquisite Firecrafts for that reason, and I'll probably make that swap back in the other direction when I am on the play. Alright. A lot of damage in hand, but no land. This is good. So the question is, like, do I think Goblin Guide is worth more than 3 damage? Sometimes. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it's not. I'm going to count Goblin Guide as a 2 damage burn spell in my hand. This is 2, plus 6 is 8. Maybe 9, 10, 11, 12-ish points of damage right now. Not great. I'm going to keep the Sulfuric Vortex in case Uro gets involved. But I think on the draw, I'm going to pitch 1 Goblin Guide. Like, between Ice Fangs and Prismatic Endings and potentially Swords to Plowshares as well, there's just a lot that can go wrong with Goblin Guide. And I'd rather just keep the things that go directly at my opponent's dome. Alright, Force of Will in... Never mind. They absolutely do not want that with their hand. Okay, so that fetch probably just represents Prismatic Ending, answering my Goblin Guide here. That was top. Okay, so my Goblin Guide probably draws them a card here. If they played that out smartly. Oh, no, there's a Cunning Wish on top, sure. Alright, so they're at 15. Go ahead and play Eidolon. Got a decent amount of damage in hand, but some of this is slow. Show and tell. Not great for me. I'll put in Sulfuric Vortex. I really wanted Roiling Vortex there. Alright. At this point, I have 6. Like, whatever they can do, they can do. I potentially have them dead if I get another turn. But I probably shouldn't. So this just gets them another Cunning Wish, which fishes another card out of the sideboard. Cunning Wish, Eldamari's Call, Swords to Plowshares. So Swords to Plowshares stops my Eidolon, and I don't gain life. And my opponent gets Emrakul, attacks me for 15. I lose all of these. And from that board, I can't kill my opponent in 1 turn. Can I kill them in 2, though? So I lose all this. Yeah, okay, the Sulfuric Vortex isn't sticking around. Yeah, so I think that means I'm dead. Kind of eat this damage here. Alright, I don't have any outs anymore. I'm going to go ahead and concede and not waste the time. Alright, so show and tell confirmed. I'm going to go ahead and bring these back in on the play. It's like versus Exquisite Firecraft. I think I'm going to sub those out. And I'll keep these like permanent sources of damage. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 19 damage in hand if I can draw a second mountain. So the issue with this hand is that if I do not draw the second mountain quickly, I will just not outpace my opponent. Because Skewer and Fire Blast are both 0 damage cards unless I draw the second mountain. I think I'm better off mulliganing here. Yes, I like this better. I will throw back 1 Rift Bolt, I think. I think being on the play here, I just absolutely want to maximize the power of Monastery Swift Spear. All right. Our fate is kind of sealed here. If my opponent does not have interaction for these Monastery Swift Spears, this hand is amazing. And if they do, the hand's a little sketch. I might force a Plains here. Okay, it's an island. In which case, I'm going to get in a pretty respectable amount of damage. I will play Swift Spear. And I think I'm just going to suspend the Rift Bolt and make next turn as good as possible. Rather than just, like, immediately cause the damage. Alright, opponent did not play any turn 1 cantrip, which absolutely scares me. Yep. Alright, I put in a mountain. You've got an Emrakul. I don't think I can kill this turn. We'll pretend. Rift Bolt, target you. Yield to those triggers. Lava Spike you. Go to 10. Chain Lightning you. You go to 7. And I'm 3 points short. Oh, okay. Opponent had Force of Will as well. Yeah, that drops my opponent to 5. They annihilate my board, and I have no outs. Show and Tell is a rough matchup normally, and this is a Show and Tell deck that has more interaction than they normally do. I needed 1 turn here. I needed 1 turn, and then I think we were fine. Hey folks, Phil here. This is just a reminder for those of you who supported me either via Patreon or via YouTube members. Please join the Discord if you want to kind of chat a little bit. It's pretty cozy in there. We talk about everything from delicious meats people are cooking and grilling up to like advanced magic strategy. So feel free to kind of join in and become part of the community. All right, back to the show. All right, so this is match 4. I'll be keeping this hand, especially if my opponent is playing non-basic lands. This is a powerful start. All right, so we're potentially playing against another, like, blue-white, probably Bant Uro pile. Not going to innately suspect that my opponent is on Bant Show and Tell again. That's a very rare matchup. All right. Deuter has resolved. Deuter gets in there for 1. We'll see what my opponent can do. All right. Ending, yep. All right. Whatever. Do I suspend Rift Bolt now? No. Teferi makes that awkward. So let's play Chain Lightning Lava Spike this turn. Wow, Spell Pierce. Sure. That's 16 for my opponent. So I have theoretically 4, 6, 9. Okay, I'm a little short right now. Narset, sure. Getting a Brainstorm. All right. So, this is a really tough turn because I can do so many things. If my opponent does not have Teferi, double Rift Bolt is so good. So good. And if my opponent has Teferi, double Rift Bolt absolutely screws me. I'm gonna risk it here because I think I'm starting to fall behind. I'm gonna go ahead and risk this and take the high risk, high reward line. I'm absolutely terrified in making this play. All right, that's a ponder. All right, I called my shot. I regret nothing. I'm not gonna fight over the Teferi. Like, I could both Fire Blast and Lightning Bolt in order to, like, take that off and get 6 damage. But I just don't think I want to go that route. So I will Lightning Bolt you, and I will Skewer you, bring you to 10. But, like, the thing is, even with this having happened, I'm not in that bad of shape unless my opponent also has Uro on top of this. I already have 8 points of burn in hand, kind of, like, ready to go. Kappa. Alright, I think at this point, this one's probably over in favor of my opponent. But, like, Price of Progress scales really well, so you never know. Um, yeah, like, in the world where my opponent, like, has to, like, fetch and get non-basic in order to cast Uro, like, there's hope for me. Oh, okay, these are just gonna, like, hang out here forever. This is some shit. I never had an opportunity to cast this Price of Progress for 6 damage. Alright, so in case you haven't seen how this shit works, my opponent draws 7 cards, I get nothing. My opponent got rid of their Uro, but, this is miserable. Maybe I should have fought over the Teferi, but that seemed like it was just awful, awful value for me to do so in so many ways. Like, it would have cost me my lands and kept me from casting future things. Alright. This game is not in foregone conclusion state, but it's damn close to it. I'll probably just concede to my opponent finding an Uro. But basically my plan is find Price of Progress and try to resolve it. Alright, so there is the second green for this. And a Shark Typhoon. I'll also just, yeah, I'll just concede to that. Like, that's a 4/4 clock now. Actually, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 damage. No, I guess I have theoretical lethal in the world where my opponent has 0 counters in their 7-card hand. Alright, fine. Alright. I need Roiling Vortex. Probably want this. Aerostatic Pillar's not crazy either. How do I feel about Price of Progress? My opponent has a lot of non-basic lands in their deck. They can probably play around it to some limited extent. On the play, my creatures are reasonable. On the draw, less so. I don't think I want to fuck around with Riftbolt Teferi. And Skewer is eh. What about Pyrostatic Pillar? Okay. It's probably similar to Skewer in terms of damage output. It's just like the persistent sources of damage become a little bit worse once Prismatic Ending is in the equation. So just talking about something while my opponent is finishing their sideboarding. A decision that's going to be really tough in this matchup is whether or not I actually attack Planeswalkers or whether I continue to go for the Dome. That's unfortunate. I really need a high card density in this matchup, is what I was about to say. I don't think this is a 6-card hand wins the game, unfortunately. This has a real fucking shot. 1 Goblin Guide goes back, because I want to go Goblin Guide into Eidolon. The other card's hard, because, like, this is great against Uro, and this is the highest damage upside card that is in my deck. I think I'm going to keep the one that's good against Uro. That's a real tough decision, though. Alright, bud, get in there. Prismatic Ending as the top card. Life is cruel. Oh god, they also have Source the Plowshares. That's some shit. Alright. Dark Typhoon. Alright, cool. So, Eidolon or Roiling Vortex, which one do I want more long-term? Probably Roiling Vortex. I'm going to try to force Prismatic Ending on Eidolon here. And I am fucking unsuccessful. That's rough. So now Prismatic Ending can answer one of my Vortex cards. I want to keep Sulfuric Vortex around long-term rather than Roiling Vortex, I think. I'm going to play Roiling first and let my opponent Prismatic Ending that. Oh my gosh, do you just have more interaction? Okay. I just was going to die inside a little bit if my opponent had, like, Spell Pierce as well on top of all of that other interaction. Ugh. Ugh. So I guess I want to draw something else that, like, forces them to use the Prismatic Ending. There's also a world where they shuffle the Prismatic Ending away here with Brainstorm. So I guess I jam Sulfuric Vortex next turn. Because they need to keep a land as one of their cards. Counterspells are probably better than Prismatic Ending. Jam. Hopefully this isn't a 2 damage burn spell. Yeah, I was afraid of this. So, like, they can keep the Prismatic Ending as the top card of their library. Oh, no. Okay. They may or may not still have Prismatic Ending. I'll find out immediately, because this is definitely an answer this if you can card. They can also just, like, yeah. Alright. Alright, I'm out of gas. This is awful. I'm going to keep the lightning bolt because I can potentially get more damage. God damn it. I can potentially get more damage out of it with a Monastery Swift Spear. But I think unless I draw another Vortex this turn, I'm dead. Keep Lightning Bolt to answer Uro. Yeah, like, I had 2 answers to Uro, and both got answered. As well as everything else I played. So I can play towards removing Uro, or I can just play towards drawing a Vortex. 6, 12, 18, 24. I'm not dead to Uro super quickly. Opponent has 10 cards in graveyard. It's very easy for them to Uro twice. I think I am just going to play towards drawing another Vortex effect and trying to just straight up beat the Uro. And I'm going to play out my Lightning Bolt first so that I don't take damage off of this card. There is also a world where my opponent doesn't have the 4th land. But I haven't caught a break at all this game, so I don't really expect to catch one now. Ooh! Alright. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and attack in. I can get ambushed by some cards like Endurance, so like there's shit that can happen here where I don't actually get in this damage. Alright, Swords of Plowshares, sure. Alright, they're at 11. I need to go to my post-combat main phase. And I get to resolve my good card here. I'm gonna activate this now. Then I can F6. Opponent's at 10. Prismatic Ending. I'm upset. I am very actively upset. I'm not gonna let my opponent know this is a land. But like, I had 3 different answers to Uro, all 3 of them 8 answers. I think I am stone cold dead to my opponent drawing a land. It's an awful place to be, since my opponent is also playing cantrips to help smooth out their draws. I have also used 3 Vortex effects already, so I'm not super likely to draw another. Alright. Fire Blast is a thing, but I think this one's over. Like, my opponent just gets another mana source here. Like, they're at 9. I can't kill them in response. They don't know that I have 2 blanks in hand, though. Like, there's some worlds where they have to hold up counter magic and don't go for the Uro, but that seems unlikely to actually happen. Alright. Okay. Cool, cool. They do get another land drop. I guess Price of Progress is a thing that exists, right? Price of Progress is a thing that exists and still allows me to win this game. I might be hard casting Fire Blasts. Who knows? My opponent is just, like, so safe, though. Like, if they feel threatened, they can just Caracas bounce Uro and gain more life that way. I don't know if my opponent should be continuing to play land drops, because Price of Progress is one of the only things that beats them. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 damage off Price of Progress. Maybe 14? Is this my spot? Might be my spot. I don't know that things are getting better. I don't think my opponent responds to taking 8 damage here. So I am going to start off by casting Price of Progress and see if it resolves. If it doesn't, I'm not going to sacrifice my lands yet. Hydroblast. Alright. Cool. Like, I get that that deck is interactive, but holy shit. This has been absolutely awful. Alright, we dealing with a walker? Nope, untapping. Our set, sure. Yeah, take your card. Think if it's a counter, I can't win. Yeah. Alright. I think I'm gonna take my draw step and throw in the towel. Our set Days Undoing. Cool, cool. I had F6'd there. I could have thrown 8 points of damage at my opponent. Then I'd have 2 lands, be able to play an Eidolon and still, like, very handily lose. Alright. That's fine. GG's. Alright, round 5. I'm gonna keep my opening hand here. I really need a second land to make this hand super functional, but, like, I'm on the draw, and there is just so much gas here. Alright, Mox Opal. So we're playing against a deck that Roiling Vortex will be good against. If we have, like, a Kappa Cannoneer spotting in this league. Sure, Emery's fine. There's a Kappa Cannoneer. Because Kappa Cannoneer is in the graveyard, I probably need to answer this. Oh no. That goes to Dome. That doesn't cost 1 right now. Ah, ah, ah. Alright. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. Don't worry about it. Urza's Bauble is the top card of opponent's deck. Um, things can be bad here. So, that is Emery targeting Kappa Cannoneer. And that is a turn 2 Kappa Cannoneer that I don't get to deal with. Also, Ward 4. Ward 4. Yep. I cannot beat Emery. I think I have to answer Emery. Alright, so let's go land. Lava Spike you, which allows me to point Skewer at Emery. I don't get to attack here. And my opponent is going to have kind of like 2 cards to refresh what they're doing. Because they get Bauble. Bauble's redraw plus their draw for turn. This Kappa Cannoneer is going to outdamage me in all likelihood. I'll do what I can. But this is just brutal. Don't know if I can play Eidolon here. I guess I can Goblin Guide, look at the top card of my opponent's deck, and then kind of make my decisions from there. Force of Will. Yikes. Opponent drops to 13. I am dead in 3 turns very optimistically. 2 turns more realistically. Can't Fire Blast twice. I'm going to count this as a 2 damage card. 3, 5, 11, 12, 13. I'm damn close. The second Fire Blast is a dead card. That's not happening before I die. So, do I cast the Eidolon? Or do I like try to greed and get some damage out of Price of Progress? The issue is that like if I play Eidolon and I can't like block with it, potentially does me a lot of damage. I'll play the Eidolon though. I think if I get the opportunity to block with it, I just block with it. Oh my god, do you have the improvised counterspell? Oh. Okay. So that was not the Force of Will that I just revealed with Goblin Guide. They also have another Force of Will on top of their deck. Absolutely fuck me. Oh my god. That's disgusting. So I am dead next turn, and I can't answer this card. I have to deal 13 points of burn through exactly 5 mana for Force of Will. That doesn't really work. So I guess I Chain Lightning you. Opponent goes to 10. No, that costs you your Lotus Petals if you want to do that. Okay, they are going for it. Oh, they're copying it. Oh, that's some shit for me. Okay. I don't have the mana to send it back, so my only line that results in me maybe winning is holding back this and my opponent not drawing an artifact. My opponent cannot cast Force of Will. Alright, they have a castable spell. Thought cast? What is that? Oh my god, they... Alright. The game plan for Kappa decks is 3 Roiling Vortex, 4 Smash the Smithereens, 1 Pyrostatic Pillar. I have to figure out what comes out. Probably Price of Progress. Like, that deck has an okay number of non-basic lands, but also has, like, a fair amount of islands as well. And I have to make my cuts somewhere, and I think on the play I just have to keep all my aggressive creatures. Well, Furic Vortex is probably too slow here. That probably gets cut, and then maybe, like, Lava Spike since I can't point it at an Emery, or maybe, like, Skewer or Rift Bolt. Let's go Lava Spikes here. I have multiple smashes. I cannot turn back this hand. I'll just play Guide on 1. Like, the Monastery Swift Spear is not great in the exact context. Okay. Is not great in the exact context of this opening hand because, like, I don't have 1-drops to follow it up with. I just have 2-drops. So, like, Monastery Swift Spear will be a decent turn 3 play. Palace is fine. I have smashes. Sure. Sure. Okay. Cool. Opponent's not just keeping all the artifacts in play for Kappa reasons. So, like, that's good for me. All right, you can draw your cards. I think I'm just going to upkeep Smash this Chalice. I'm just so scared of Kappa that, like, I do not want to let them keep their artifact count respectable. Yeah, cool. So now I can play Monastery Swift Spear. I don't necessarily need to just smash right now. So I'm going to go ahead and just suspend that and crash in for 1. I'm kind of relying on the fail rate of my opponent's deck here. All right, cool. Rift Bolt, target you. That brings you to 10. Hell yeah. Prowess is instant or sorcery, right? Or no, it's non-creature spell. Sure. In which case, I will go ahead and play a pre-combat Roiling Vortex. We have Force of Will. Force of Negation, sure. Okay. I get in 3 damage here. Opponent drops to 7. I've smashed the Smithereens for the first Urza Saga token that my opponent makes. And then hopefully my opponent is dead. I'm going to attack in for 1 here. Okay, opponent is just going to eat it. Sure, I'll put you to 6. A post-combat Rift Bolt is sort of awkward. I think I'll just throw that at Dome, though. And then I will just Rift Bolt some artifact next turn. Yeah. But if I do that pre-combat, my opponent just, like, makes a token and blocks. Alright. Opponent's at 1. I have a creature in play, plus an active Smash to Smithereens. Oh, fuck, Shadow Spear. Oh, no, I still kill through Shadow Spear, right? 2 mana, equip, gain 3 life, go to 4. Yeah, I still just have 4 damage. That's totally fine. So unless my opponent is looking at, like, Force of Will plus blue card, or Force of Negation plus blue card, I'm just totally fine. Okay, cool. I can even start here. Chain Lightning, target you. Okay, there's the concession. And now we've got another game to work with. On the draw, where Urza's Saga is more likely to do Urza Saga shit, do I want a Sulfuric Vortex? Sulfuric Vortex is slow, but it's just one more way to stop the life gain. Reasonable. Like, my Swift Spears and Goblin Guides become a little bit worse on the draw as well. Like, Chalice is a thing. Yeah, maybe hedging against Chalice, I'll play 2 more things that stop Shadow Spear on the draw. This is a hand that requires multiple lands to kind of do its thing. Pyrostatic Pillar is a very, very potent sideboard card, but I think I just have to mulligan this one to a hand that's going to be more consistent. This is fine. I'm going to pitch 1 mountain here and just try to keep a critical density of gas. All right. Let's see what you got, opponent. Okay, sure. 2 mana, deal with the Chalice. We're going to deal with the Chalice. I've got a smash for it. So that means I can just suspend Rift Bolt on turn 1 so that I can actually kind of use my mana. I'm likely to cast Roiling Vortex on turn 2. Fuck me. Alright. So this is going to be Rift Bolt, target my opponent. I have to pay the extra mana here. Okay, I'm super, super happy to draw the next land. Like, that's very essential. Again, Roiling Vortex is going to come before Smash to Smithereens. Unless I specifically need to play around my opponent hard casting a spell this turn. Like, I don't want to play into... Or no, they couldn't hard cast Force of Negation. Smash a land. But I think I'm going to smash Chalice and unlock Lightning Bolt here. But it's, like, very tempting to try to smash a land and leave my opponent locked under their own thorn. New Chalice. Sure. Order of operations. I know this spell resolves. Which spell is most important? Sulfuric Vortex uses my mana most efficiently. Roiling Vortex shuts off the most cards in my opponent's deck. I think I'm going to cast Roiling Vortex. Alright. This just turns all the 0 drops into, like, lava axes that hurt my opponent. And you can't gain life this turn. Now I can F6 safely. I think this is a hand where my opponent potentially... Right. Cool. Once more. Absolutely once more. Okay, cool. An opponent doesn't have counter magic, so these are just going to add up. I dig it. I guess we can always yield to these. I'm not in range of dying to them anytime soon. Yeah, now all my opponents' like counter spells and such are very bad. Kappa is still scary. Outside of Kappa, I don't care about most of my opponent's cards anymore, though. Oh my god, Thorn of Amethyst. That's super frustrating. And... okay. Yeah, I fucked that up. I forgot about the Thorn in play. Now my Roiling Vortexes aren't doing what they need to be doing. Oh, I really hope my opponent doesn't have an answer for this card. Actually, is it better to play Sulfuric Vortex first? No? Close? I'm gonna play Sulfuric Vortex first for mana efficiency reasons. Yeah, but I shouldn't have played the second Roiling Vortex because of Thorn. Yep. I absolutely missed that. I have my opponent dead in 2 turns. They have me dead in 3. I'm gonna lose to a Kappa. Puts me to 15. They've got 5 cards. They had fuck, it's Kappa. Alright. Yep. Smash. 2, 4, 9, 10, 11. So I'm dead. I have to kill my opponent this turn. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have it theoretically. If my opponent has Force of Will, they can cast it. If my opponent has Force of Negation, and they can cast it. They can also hard cast these things. So it's just like, does my opponent have a counterspell right now? They die if they don't. I can't really play a second thing here. Alright, Smash Thorn, I guess. Do you have it? Nope! You don't. Alright. There's a very, very narrow win. I nearly punted that game by forgetting about like the Thorn of Amethyst interaction with Roiling Vortex. Overall thoughts on the deck list. I think we were a little unlucky this league. I think we 3-2 that league most of the time. But like my lands opponent made Merit Lodge on turn 3 games in a row where like I had lethal if I had one more turn each time. Like we had some lucky top decks of our own, but I feel pretty good about the deck list. I do kind of wish I had a 4th Roiling Vortex, so that like I could just have that a little more consistently. Like I very much like having a total of 5 of these. So like the question is like, is the 6th one going to be good here? I like having the Smash to Smithereens. The Exquisite Firecrafts were boarded in a couple times, and I really liked having access to this stuff. The ley lines are better than the fairies. The fairy just kind of serves as the 5th copy of these cards. Generally speaking, I kind of like what I did with the flex slots, and I feel pretty good about the deck list. I don't know that like Burn is a real contender in the Legacy metagame right now, but like if you're looking to sleeve up Burn, something similar to this is probably a reasonable starting point. Whew. That was a lot of thinking this league. Burn sometimes wrongly gets this reputation as being like a very easy and straightforward deck, but as this league probably shows, there's a lot of difficult decisions involved here in piloting this deck. Anyway, folks, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, click the like button on your way out. If you have any thoughts on the deck list or how you're approaching things with Burn, throw them in the comments before you go. Have a great rest of the day. See ya!